I would now like to invite Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir, diiringi oleh Miss Sunny Lee, and also the Chairman of Sunny Movement, Mr. Andrew Goh, and President of the Malaysia Canoe Association, Datuk Sri Megat Syariman Zaharuddin, to join Yang Berhormat Syed Saddiq di atas pentas ni for the mock check presentation from our very generous donors. Dipersilakan dengan segala hormatnya Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri Malaysia.
支票模拟支票移交仪式，那我们这一次的款项呢是要特别捐赠给马来西亚残奥会。
Right. We would like to invite our first donor from Berjaya Corporation Berhad, Mr. Morvin Tan, Director of E-Auto Sdn Berhad. Dipersilakan.
首先，让我们邀请第一位捐赠者 Berjaya Corporation Berhad， 有请。
Photographers, this is your chance for a group photo with everyone. Do your worst and do it fast. Thank you very much, Berjaya Corporation. Thank you. Next, we have Swan City. Mr. Danny Yao, Chairman of Swan City, and Mr. Sarabadbu Ramani, CEO of Swan City. Dipersilakan.
接下来，我们有请天儿城代表。
Thank you. Terima kasih, Swan City.
谢谢。
Now we would like to invite on stage Empire Group, Datuk Sri Marcus Lee Andrew. Dipersilakan.
同时，我们也有请 Empire 集团代表上台移交模拟支票。
Thank you very much, Empire Group. Next, please welcome Akisama Group, Mr. James Tan.
接下来有请 Akisama 集团代表上台。
Thank you very much, Akisama Group. And last but not least,
Yes.
Kanisab Sdn Berhad, Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Azman Cheng, CEO of Canis Group, for the contribution to the Para-Athlete Charity Donation. Dipersilakan.
是的，最后我们有的是 Kanisab Sdn Berhad 为残奥运动会基金慈善基金捐献。
Thank you very much. Terima kasih, Canis Group and Kanisab Sdn Berhad. Thank you very much.
Once again, a very big thank you to all our generous sponsors, and now a very big thank you to all of you, our para-athletes. Thank you so much. Everyone looks great tonight. You may now make your way to your seats. Thank you.
Okay. Dipersilakan para atlet untuk kembali ke tempat masing-masing. kita saksikan seterusnya rancangan kita pada malam ini. Dipersilakan.
是的，我们在这里可以看得到传奇人健儿的这个竞技能力和拼搏的精神，不仅让我们看到了身缠志坚、奋勇争光的精神品格，更让我们看得到生命的尊严和生活的美好。希望我们刚刚的这一些捐款，能够让他们看到更美好的明天。And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Ms. Jan Breaker and Ms. Zuli Sanguino to present Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad a special painting as a token of appreciation for gracing My Voice, My Nation Malaysia 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mrs. Jan Breaker a big round of applause. Yes, together with our special guest here tonight, Ms. Julie Sanguino.
Persembahan cenderahati daripada tetamu-tetamu khas kita, Miss Jan Breaker dan juga Zuli Sanguino yang akan menyampaikan sebuah lukisan khas kepada Tun Mahathir.
Yang begitu istimewa.
Istimewa sekali.
Yeah.
Zuli, I believe you would like to say something about the painting for the Prime Minister.
Ella cree que quieres decir algo sobre la pintura.
Yeah, hago parte de la Asociación Mundial de Artistas Pintores con la Boca y con el Pie.
I do these paintings with my mouth and with my feet.
Y traje este obsequio para usted, señor primer ministro.
And I brought this gift for you, sir, Prime Minister.
Me siento muy agradecida por habernos abierto las puertas de Malasia.
She is very thankful for you opening the doors of Malaysia to Colombia.
Y bueno, hice una bandera de Colombia y de Malasia,
I made a flag of Colombia and of Malaysia,
un sendero,
this beautiful forest,
porque pienso que los países no necesitan fronteras, pueden ser amigos y caminar por el mismo lugar.
because I believe that countries should be friends and they should walk together in communion.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
哇，掌声！谢谢我们这位特别嘉宾带来的非常美好的一份礼物。
Thank you very much. Thank you, Zuli. Thank you, Jen.
是的，非常谢谢我们两位特别嘉宾。And a very big thank you to Yang Berhormat Tuan Said Sadi Abdul Rahman, Mr. Andrew Goh, Miss Sani, Miss Jan Breaker and Miss Zuli Sanguino.
Kalau boleh nak minta Yang Berhormat Tuan Said temankan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri sekejap. Kita ada video khas yang kita mainkan sebelum Yang Amat Berhormat memberi ucapan dia.
All I have to do is to introduce new ideas so that we can expedite the growth and development of Malaysia.
Setelah dipilih sebagai seorang ahli Dewan Rakyat, dengan sesungguhnya bersumpah bahawa saya akan dengan jujur menunaikan kewajipan-kewajipan saya
Wow, sekali lagi tepukan yang gemuruh kepada Bapa Pemodenan Malaysia Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera and a very good evening to everyone. Yang berhormat Tuan Syed Saddiq bin Syed Abdul Rahman, Minister of Youth and Sports. Yang berhormat Datuk Muhammadin bin Ketabi, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yang berhormat Puan Teresa Kong Su Sim, Minister of Primary Industries. Mrs. Sunny Lee, Organizing Chairperson for My Voice, My Nation, Malaysia 2019. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am going to talk about myself today. That is what I am told to do. I thought I have written a book, 800 pages, all about myself. But now I still have to tell more stories. You may believe it or you may dismiss it. My name is Mahathir bin Mohamad. What I'm going to tell you today is a brief story about myself. Although there are not many people of my generation left around to confirm my story, I can assure you that all this information is true to my knowledge and memory. I guess that's the advantage of being around long enough. You become your own term of reference and primary source. Nobody else is around, fortunately for me, so they cannot contradict me. I was born in Alostar, Kedah. My father was a school teacher, a headmaster in a school now called College Sultan Abdul Hamid, and my mother was a housewife. I remember vividly how strict my father was, especially when it concerns our studies. He will not compromise when it comes to doing our homework and revisions. He treated my siblings and I with discipline, just like he treated his students. On hindsight, I believe that what you see of me today is the result of that discipline and uncompromising stance on the importance of education. In more ways than not, when I became the Prime Minister, the first round and now the second time, I tried to impart similar discipline to the nation. Some find it inspiring and necessary, but there are others who felt that I was too authoritarian, with a few deciding to label me a dictator. I didn't take to heart such labeling because I only imposed what I myself observed and followed. Hence the slogan, leadership by example, in which whatever I expect of my subordinates and government officers, I myself would have observed it first. Punctuality and respecting time. The spillover effect of the slogan is the punch card or clocking in for civil servants, which was introduced after I became the PM in 1981. Prior to that, there was a lot of complaints that civil servants were lacking in discipline and spend the better half of the morning in the office canteens, drinking coffee and smoking. The punch card ensured that they were in their seats on time, and what followed was the name tag that they had to wear at all times when in office. The idea was simple. Since they are dealing with the public, they must serve them to the best of their ability. And if they fail or choose to ignore the public that sought their assistance, then the public can identify the errand officer if they wish to lodge a complaint. So no hiding. All this may seem trivial, but today, while there are still errant, irresponsible civil servants, it is not the norm as it was before. On my part, all I did was to only expect others to do what I do. If I want others to work hard, I must work as hard, if not more. Similarly, if I want people to turn up on time, then I must be punctual. There is one thing I ask others to do which I will not do. I will not jump out of aeroplanes even if I am wearing a parachute. That is left to the experts. Again, all these things may sound petty, but respecting time is of the essence. After all, time and tide wait for no man. Some people who have failed to be on time when turning up for appointments with me in the past had probably got upset with me for not being a bit more flexible. I am somewhat more flexible today because of old age, not because I do not take punctuality seriously, but due to the amount of work that needs to be done now. Numerous unscheduled meetings and appointments take place, eating into the time of scheduled appointments. Even then, there shouldn't be any excuse for tardiness. The logic is very simple. Let's say someone is scheduled to meet me at 11 a.m. for a 30 minutes appointment. He turns up at 11:15 a.m., which is merely 15 minutes late. But there's someone who is scheduled to meet me at 11:30, and he was punctual. It will not be fair for me to still give the earlier person a 30 minutes appointment, which will mean that the person who is punctual is punished for the tardiness of the other. But I'm not so rigid to the extent that I'm not able to understand the problems of unexpected traffic jams and so forth. I am merely pointing out why punctuality and respecting time are very important, and to the best of our ability, we must all observe it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sports and other interests. I was never that good in sports, but I did play some rugby in school. The reason why I play rugby is because you don't need much skill. All you have to do is to accept being hurt in the scrums. But much of my time was on my studies and a lot of reading. I do believe that physical activities and sports are important, and I took up horse riding when I was 60 years old. Of course, I don't get to ride much now due to lack of time. Also, my favorite horse is now too old. For at the age of 25, our horse is like 95 for human beings. Nevertheless, I do occasionally try to do some cycling on some weekends, but that too seems to be quite rare and few. And so I spend most of my time reading and writing. It is something that I never stop doing, nor do I plan to slow down. It keeps my mind active, and reading reminds me how much I do not know and that there's much, much more to learn. Your brain is like your muscle. You know that if you don't use your muscle, they shrink and become weak. That was why that guy who lifted weights just now looks big and tough. It's because he uses his muscle. If you don't use your muscle, then it becomes weak. It's the same with your brain. If you don't use your brain, it regresses. You forget. You cannot talk properly. You forget your grammar and everything else. So read, write, and talk, and argue with people. When I was growing up, I snatched any reading material that I could lay my hands on. Even today, I read all kinds of books, fiction and non-fiction. Being a Muslim reminds me that the first revelation the Prophet received was asking him to read. And if divine revelations cannot convince us on the importance of reading, I do not know what else can. It is something that I enjoy doing. Although the young people of today bury their noses in their smartphones or laptops, a different way of reading, I guess, I still find reading books and having them physically in my hands, and the smell of the paper and the print is quite irresistible. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when I was growing up, not many Malays were fortunate to further their studies in universities. Only royal families and aristocrats could afford to enroll their children in universities. Some sent their children to England. I was somewhat fortunate to be given a scholarship and offered a place in to study medicine in Singapore. In those days, you don't refuse. Whatever they give you, you take. If they ask you to be a lawyer, you become a lawyer. If they ask you to become a doctor, you become a doctor. So they asked me to study medicine, and I studied medicine. Medicine is never an easy course, but it can be very satisfying, especially when I became a doctor at a time when doctors were scarce and rural folks were not always able to get access to modern medicine. Later on, when I became a full-time politician and prime minister, I discovered my years as a doctor influenced quite a fair bit of my decision-making process. Whenever a problem emerges, I would diagnose what had caused it and at times go through the process of elimination process. Once I've diagnosed it, I then proceed to look at what are the best options to remedy it. And apart from having to swallow the proverbial bitter medicine, amputation is an option. Don't come to me now. I might amputate your whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, one aspect of leadership that is sometimes overlooked is the ability to feel for the ordinary people. Sometimes when leaders are aristocratic and autocratic and of royal lineage, the tendency of not understanding the sufferings of the ordinary people is prevalent. It is kin to the oft-repeated saying attributed to Marie Antoinette, who, when told that the peasants were hungry for bread, she said, "Let them eat cake." Whether Marie Antoinette said it or not, the crux of the matter is that before that leaders have been known to be so detached that sufferings that could be resolved are allowed to perpetuate. It can be argued that ordinary men who went on to become leaders have been known to ignore the sufferings of the ordinary citizens, but that is not due to ignorance, but due to apathy. But I also believe in working hard to take ourselves out of poverty and difficulties. When I was a teenager, when the Japanese occupied our country and we stopped schooling temporarily, I was selling goreng pisang, banana fritters, in Alostar's Pekan, and it was quite a thriving business. And I discovered that there's always opportunities if we look around hard enough. When you are in need, you forget about being an aristocrat who cannot do menial labor. When I got into the position of power, I realized that not everyone is capable of finding the opportunity, and sometimes those with power should assist them in finding their footing. But the principle of giving them the rod instead of the fish always stands. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is said that behind every successful man there is a woman. Correction. I will get a scolding when I go home if I say that behind every successful man there is a woman. My wife insists that there is a wife. So you want some woman to be behind you? Marry her. I do not know if I fall into the category of being successful, because my job until today is still work in progress, and it is being judged all the time. Regardless, I am however lucky to have my wife with me throughout these 63 years. Although before that, she was my girlfriend. Well, whatever there is to be said about wives, I think I have managed for 63 years to have only one. Of course, a lot of Muslims, Malays know that the Quran says you can marry 2, 3, or 4. But you stop there. But the Quran went on to say, if you cannot be just to them, marry one. And the next verse says, man cannot be just to women. So what you are being told is that you should marry only one. Yeah, my wife is also a doctor, which is definitely a bonus as I am assured, especially at this stage in life, that I have a doctor by my side at almost all times, including in bed. I don't know how she had put up with me all these times, but she did, and my life is so much the better. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is my fervent hope that Malaysians, especially the younger generation, will be able to see and realize why we stood up against colonialism and fought for our independence. I was lucky, or maybe unlucky, to witness how our people were mistreated and subjected to all kinds of indignity by the colonizers. They came into our home, told us how to behave, and made us do things for their benefits and left us with crumbs. They know what is best, and we are forced to let them do the thinking. They take our way of wealth, they take away our wealth, and we are supposed to smile and help them to do the plundering. You are lucky, and I truly hope Malaysians will never again go through such indignities. But freedom is not a given thing. You have to work for it, defend it, and nurture it. That, I believe, is a task you are being entrusted with. Good or bad, big or small, my generation have done our bit. I thank you very much.
Ribuan terima kasih kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir. Come on everyone, you can do better than that.
掌声大声啲，谢谢。
Thank you so much.
講得非常非常好，so inspiring, so
Very
good.
inspiring.